Welcome to the Reflection Show. My name is Mr.Rouzard. You never go to the mirror scripted. You always go unscripted, and I'm so grateful that you're always tuning in to this amazing platform that is positive, impacting, influencing, and inspiring others. And today I get a chance to inspire you talking about some relationship, cook and chat with the one and only Mr. Cook and Chat, Joshua Lumas.
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, Josh?
I'm good, bro. Glad to be here.
I'm good to have you on the show, man.
Yes,
finally getting you here,
Yeah.
talking about some good cook and chat. You got some amazing food. What are you cooking today?
So tonight, everybody's on a health journey, so I wanted to give them something simple and easy that's healthy that they can eat. So I have a vegetarian garden spaghetti that's made with no meat, all vegetables, so it's a vibe.
Everybody say, So, okay, let's talk about a little bit like as far as chef, relationship, because we know that you're single. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
So I've been single for just about a year now. So what I did was after the relationship breakup I went through, I decided to go on a self-healing journey. I didn't entertain nobody. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't go on dates because I had to get myself to a place where I was ready to be whole for myself and for others.
Wow, you was ready to be whole for yourself and for others. So now that you're in the process of positioning yourself for a relationship, let's have this relationship conversation with this food, because you have some green peppers, some onions, some yellow peppers, some tomatoes, some mushroom, and some sugar with some olive oil, and you're cooking this amazing veggie pasta here tonight.
Yes, sir.
So let me know a little bit about what's the power between being single and dating someone. What is the difference between that?
So the difference between being single is that I can be selfish. Dating someone means I have to be selfless. So when I'm dating someone, I have to consider their feelings, their thoughts, their actions, consider my actions when I'm actually, engaging the time I talk to them, giving time, making sure they are my main priority. When I'm single, it's just all about me.
So how does that relate to what you're cooking? Like, help me understand this.
Okay. So in the context of single by itself, so I separate the two. Some people cook their spaghetti and their sauce all together.
Right.
I separate the two because I want to give everything its own authentic flavor, and then at the end I mix it together.
Now I'm Haitian, so we like to put some tomate in there. When we put some pot tomate in there, some epis. Put the little the water with the spaghetti, mix it together, make it taste good. So you got your ways of doing it different.
Yeah, I do it a little different because I want everything to have its own authentic flavor. And it's just like relationships. Every relationship is not made the same.
Every relationship is different.
No, every relationship is different. So you have to add some things and take some things away. There's no blueprint to a successful relationship. What may work for your household may not work for my household.
Wow.
But I got to be okay with that. So, it just gives me a little flavor, a little different. So some people add mushrooms. I think mushrooms are great because they absorb the flavor in what you give them, which is just like relationships. What you put in is what you're going to get out.
What you put in is what you're going to get out.
Mushrooms don't have no
nasty.
Oh, you're going to get nasty out of it. You're going to get nasty out of that relationship. It's literally what you put in is what you're going to get out. So it's very vital. And so with the mushrooms, they absorb the flavor that I put in. So if I want my wife to be nurturing and caressive, guess what I got to do? I got to give her a nurturing, caressive me. And in response, she'll give me that.
So is that like when you're mixing here, you're this is what you're doing with your...
So you got to always hold the handle.
Okay. All right.
And when you hold the handle, when you grab a spoon and you're gonna go all the way. Don't flip it. You're gonna stir.
You're just gonna stir.
Yes. There you go. Now what they're gonna tell you is remember that you do not scrape the bottom of the pot. Okay.
Why not?
Because there's certain coating that's on the pot to ensure that the pot's protected. Okay, so when you're scraping the bottom of it, sometimes you can cause the bottom of the coat of the pot to be messed up, and then sometimes it can cause it to stick to the bottom.
So that's like relationship.
Yeah.
When you become too aggressive, you can cause that individual person to run away from you.
Absolutely. Aggression. Aggression in relationships. That's a whole nother topic.
Yes.
When you enter into aggression, you got to get down to the root cause of where it coming from, because that's not your first emotion to be aggressive. It's either hurt, it's disappointment, or disrespect. What is the root cause of your aggression? Because your secondary emotion is going to be that aggression. You don't just wake up, I'm going to be aggressive. No, something happened that caused you to be aggressive.
Because I heard that, and maybe you have heard it as well, that when someone cooks, you can tell the state of mind that they're in.
Absolutely.
Because everything they're doing in motion channels into the food.
Absolutely. I cook with love. So I can tell if somebody cooked because they forced to cook or they cook because they love to cook.
Ooh.
You can tell by the seasonings. You can tell by how it just marinates and how it's plated. If I really don't want to cook, I'm just gonna slap it on the plate.
So now the question is, Josh, let's talk about those chefs who are forcing themselves to cook, who are forcing themselves to go out on a date, to be with somebody that they know they shouldn't be with. Why do you think they continue to stay in that place?
When people stay in relationships that they know they're not supposed to be in, it's because there's an insecurity most of the times, and a comfortability.
So wait, insecurities and comfortability.
Yes. Insecurities and comfortability. So when insecurities set in, they may not feel like they can get anybody else, so they settle for what they have in front of them. And because I'm so comfortable being here, I know you like the back of my hand. You know, I know you're going to do this. I know you're going to do that. I don't want to run the risk of having to learn somebody new to try to figure out if they're going to do the same thing to me. So,
but a chef always has to be open to trying something new.
Absolutely.
In a relationship,
Absolutely.
you have to be open to trying something new. Meaning, if that person that you dated before and the other person you dated before was just like the same person you dated right after that other person, then that means you got to switch up your ingredients.
Or you got to change the place you're looking for them.
Oh!
Because see, some places you can shop that's cheap, and they're going to give you a cheap quality of vegetables, cheap quality of noodles.
Wow.
But you have to go to some places that are quality, that's going to give you a better quality to get what you want.
Well, you guys heard it right here from Cook and Chat. He said, change where you're shopping to get your vegetables.
Come on now.
If you shop at quality, you're going to get quality.
That's it.
But I heard quality can spoil too.
Absolutely, quality can spoil, but it takes longer. But see, when you have quality, you got to understand quality we use first.
Wow.
We don't normally use the other stuff. Quality we use first. I know it's going to guarantee me a good taste, so I'm going to use it first.
So what are some difficulties you dealt with? I know you being single, you still dated.
Yes.
You know, because a lot of people don't think just because you're dating, you're in a relationship with somebody.
No.
It's two different things.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely two different things.
Because just because somebody's cooking in the kitchen don't mean they're a chef.
Hello. That.
Because I can boil some hot dogs.
Come on, say that again.
I can boil some hot dogs. Just because the person in the kitchen cooking don't mean they're a chef.
That does not mean they're a chef.
They are not a chef.
Hello. And you know what? That's so paramount to understand that, because if you don't understand that just because you're in the kitchen that'll make you a chef, that means that you can be operating in an area where you're not strong or gifted.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that leads into a lot of things. Now it leads to abuse taking place because you don't understand purpose. You know, and when purpose is not understood, abuse is inevitable. You know what I mean? So you're going to get abused, you're going to get misused, you're going to get mistreated because you're out of line. And if you get in your lane, you won't have no traffic.
If you get in your lane, you won't have no track. That's why they say you can't have too many chefs in the kitchen.
Listen.
Too many chefs in the kitchen just going to bring a lot of chaos, because the kitchen needs structure and order. And a lot of you are dating today, or a lot of you are meeting people, their lives are not structured.
Yeah, life not structured, they don't have anything going. And my challenge that I find now when I'm dating is that some women don't really want a man to have it all together.
Why is that?
It's blowing my mind, bro. You know, some women, I go to the table like, listen, you know, I'm in this place, this is where I am, I'm dating with purpose, and as you come to the table, I mean, it's not right out the gate, not first date, like a month in, like, hey, listen, like this, where I need to see where you fit in my plan. They get scared because it's like, oh my God, he's going so fast. But I'm like, what's the wait? You know what I mean?
That's crazy, because when God created Adam and Eve, he already gave Adam everything he needed. Adam was prepared for Eve. So why wouldn't a woman want a man that's prepared? Or why wouldn't a man want a woman that's prepared? That's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's the reality of what we're dealing with now. So now you find people settling. Oh, I don't. Marriage is just papers. You know, I don't have to be married, because their expectations of what they're wanting out of their spouse, they're scared to really trust them and give them their all.
See, that's why some of your that's why some of your relationships are empty the way they are, because you're coming to the kitchen half full.
And then you come into the kitchen, and you know, even not only the kitchen, but they come into the mirror and not being real with themselves.
Wow.
So you're looking at your reflection, but you're not really being real with yourself.
Because a chef has to be ready to be criticized.
Oh, yeah.
A chef has to be ready to be criticized.
Absolutely.
Because how does your food get better, Josh?
Listen, you have to, what I do is I do tasting. So I have my friends come over and I say, hey, I'm doing something new, try this. But my friends can tell me honestly, hey, this ain't good.
She ain't working.
You know, this ain't working. Or hey, listen, bro, you got to tighten up on this, or that may not be the one for you, bro, because, you know, so I have to be honest with myself, and I put people around me that are honest with me that can say this food ain't good, or this relationship ain't good, or you need to tighten up on your own.
But what if, Josh, I'm going to play the advocate here, but what if that girl is just a different taste that you have acquired that they haven't?
So what I do is I wait before I bring her around. So I get to vet her out. I talk about her, but I never bring her around until I'm certain that we're ready to move to the next level.
Until you're certain.
Until I'm certain.
So it's just like this. You don't put the green peppers in the onions until you're certain that this sauce is hot enough and ready to cook.
Absolutely. It's just the same thing. You don't put the noodles in the water until the water is at a right temperature. Because if you put it in the wrong temperature, now the noodles become soggy. And so when it should be a firm noodle, now it's soggy, and you get into a place where everything meshes together and you have gummy noodles.
So that's why some people that are watching this right now, their relationship are soggy and not firm because their temperature is not set right. Their expectations is not set properly. So they lack the ability of truly understanding what it means to properly cook a healthy relationship.
Absolutely. And they're putting their relationship or their lives in the hands of somebody that don't have the capacity to handle it. So it's just like this pot. This pot can handle me adding more tomatoes, more onions, more peppers to make sure it gets to a certain level, and it can uphold it. But really and truly, if you don't have a pot that's big enough, now you get a smaller pot, it's not going to have the capacity to really handle that.
Wow. So let's talk about let's talk a little bit more here. So now you add the mushrooms in here. You add some tomatoes. You add some green peppers and onions. It's amazing how each of these stand out by themselves, but coming together they taste good.
Absolutely, because you know, especially this little ingredient right here. See, this is sugar. See, sugar is controversial going around. Does sugar go inside of spaghetti? The reason I add it, it's different, but the reason I add it is because you got to also think about it this way. Sometimes you have situations that are bitter, but if you add a little salt, a little sugar, the sugar can sweeten the situation and make it balanced. It's not going to make it all the way better. It's not going to make the taste all the way go away, but it's going to balance it out. In relationships, you need balance in your life. You need to balance who you bring around. You need to balance how you talk to them. You need to balance even how much time you give them, because too much of anything is not good.
And I love what you said, because it is important that even though you come with something different and that person comes with something different, if you come together with the right intentions, you can make that as a good meal.
Absolutely, because now imagine this. You eat an onion by itself. You eat a bell pepper by itself, you eat a tomato by itself, and you eat these mushrooms by themselves raw. It ain't gonna taste good, bro. It's not gonna taste good.
And that's what's happening.
And that's what's happening. We're coming into the relationship with our own individual mindsets, own individual motives, own individual agendas, and you're coming to a relationship where you're supposed to lay that all aside and come together as one, but you're coming into the table with all these single expectations in a relationship where you're committed. So now you gotta redo all of that. So now what you do is you add all the raw ingredients in the pot and you melt them, you cook them down. Once you cook them down, now they begin to mesh. Now they begin to work. But guess what? Sometimes the only way that happens is the heat has to go up.
I like this because what I just saw was you have to give it time. You have to give it time.
Absolutely.
Because when you gave it time, the taste came together. What was strong by itself became weak together and made the meal stronger.
That's it.
And that's what relationship is like. You gotta die to each other every day in order to see that connection, that equality, that love, that decision, that commitment that makes that relationship healthy.
Absolutely. And you gotta be selfless. You have to be selfless. You gotta consider the other person over yourself when you get into a relationship, especially when you go going to date to purposely get into marriage, you really have to consider the other person, because now your single goal and agenda is to cater to the other person. You know, so you got to consider them. So I'm going to get some food. Let me get me some food and her some food. Ladies, it's vice versa. I'm going to get me some food. Let me get him some food too. You know, let me make sure he's situated and settled before I go out and hang out with my people.
Now, Josh, here's the thing though. There are some people who are giving in. They're allowing people to taste the meal before it's ready. And you know, being single and trying to prevent yourself from having sex, preserving yourself. What is that like for you? And what does it mean for a chef? What does it mean for a person to come to the kitchen and stick their finger in the food before it's even ready?
Number one, that's a disrespect to come in my kitchen. And you'll get put out of not only my kitchen, but my house. And never be invited back again. But when you go to talk, abstaining from sex, it's a challenge. It is definitely a daily challenge and a daily struggle, because once you've experienced it, the urge doesn't go away, the desire doesn't go away, and you're not fulfilling it, so now it intensifies.
That means if he's cooking good, it's gonna be hard for you to get away from that kitchen. And if she's cooking good, it's gonna be hard to get away from that kitchen.
Listen, it's hard to get away once you taste some good food.
That's why you can't get into the kitchen early.
And you can't eat from everybody by the table. See? Okay. We ain't gonna mess with that. But what you got to do is that you got to put boundaries in place. So for me, I put boundaries in place. I have accountability partners. I have boundaries in place. So at a certain time of night, you're not in my house. At a certain time of night, we can hang all night long if you want to, but we're going to be out in the public, and we're going to be around people that knows our goals, our motives, and our agendas to make sure that we don't have a oops moment. Because really, if you really think about it, and people ain't going to like this when I say this, but there's really no accidental sex moments. There's no accidental, or it just happened. Because the thing about it, let's process it. You had to get in your car. You had to drive to their house. You had to sit on the couch, do all your foreplay. After you had to go through, you had to take your clothes off. You had to put on condoms if you're having protected sex. You had to get in their bedroom, and you had to undress them. So where's the accident?
Come on.
How is it an accident?
You went to the grocery store.
You went to the grocery store.
You bought the vegetables.
You bought the vegetables.
You bought the pasta.
You bought the pasta.
You bought the sauce.
You bought it.
You knew you were finna cook some pasta.
You knew what you was about to do. And I had an accident.
And that's why it is important as you being your own chef to your own life, you have to understand some of these things. And Josh is getting ready to share with you some principles, just 5 things that helps him to get better while he is single, waiting for his wife. So what are those 5 things, Josh?
Well, number 1, loving yourself.
That's the green pepper, loving yourself.
Number 1 is loving yourself. Make sure you know who you are and you love yourself despite your flaws, imperfections. Love yourself, because you cannot expect someone to love who you just like.
Wow. What's number 2?
Number 2 is that you have to know yourself.
That's that onion. Peel it off, peel it off, peel it off.
Know yourself, okay? Number 2 is know yourself, your ins, your outs, what you like, what you don't like. And number 3 is going to be deal with your past before you bring everybody else in your future.
That's that yellow pepper. Dealing with your past before what?
You bring anybody into your future. Number 4 would be know your family and what they bring to the table. So sometimes you can date somebody and you're not aware of how their family is. But I know how my family is. I know who I can bring around to what family function, and I can prep them, because sometimes people may run away from you, not because they're afraid of you, but because they're afraid of your family. And they don't want to be married into a family that's crazy. So if I prep them, hey, listen, my family has a few challenges, but they're all loving, they're perfect, and they're welcoming, now you know what to expect. But if you don't do that, then they see your family and they see cousin Ray, he crazy, they gonna run away from you. And the last and final thing I would say is make sure that you're healthy and you're whole and you're keeping God as the center of your life. Before I can bring anybody else in my life, I have to keep God as the center. I used to say put him as the foundation, but I realized that sometimes you can have a foundation that's not really solid. And if it's not solid, then it can crumble.
If it's not solid, it can crumble.
You know what I mean? So I keep him in the center, so my eyes are constantly fixed on him. You know what I mean? So he's the center of my joy. He's the center of my love. He's the center, and I love as if I'm loving unto him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So now when I bring somebody into the picture, it's like, okay, listen, I love me.
Right.
And the Bible tells you to love your neighbor as yourself. So I don't have a problem loving you right because I love me right. So it goes back to number one.
Listen, did y'all hear all those 5 things that Josh was talking about? Listen, it is, now we're getting ready to try this thing out real quick.
Yes.
Let's try this food. Let's try this food because this is what it looks like. You see, we talked about it earlier. The noodles themselves look like they are by themselves, but when they come together, guess what happens? We have a good tasting veggie pasta right here, made by the one and only Joshua Lumas. Cook and chat right here on the Reflection Show. Josh, there is somebody watching right now as I'm eating, and right now they are trying to figure out, you know, how do they move on from the pain of their last relationship? How do they overcome the adversity they're facing right now, being single or dating someone that they feel like they connect to but really don't connect to? So they're in that stage of really trying to find themselves. What word of encouragement could you share with that person looking in the mirror right now at the reflection?
If you're looking in the mirror right now, what I would tell you is that you deserve to be loved. You deserve everything that love offers to bring to you, but you have to get to the point where you embrace it. Sometimes in our past or traumas, experiences cause us to get to a place where we build walls. It's not good to build walls because sometimes you can isolate yourself in and we'll never know you're in there alive or dead. You have to build fences instead, which means I'm guarded, but I can still see that you're alive and that you're willing to engage. So I would admonish you to let people in. You don't have to give them all of you right away. I suggest levels because there's levels to everything, but you deserve to be loved. King, you deserve to be treated as such. Queen, you deserve to be treated as such, but you can never expect anyone to love who you just like.
You can never expect to love who you just like. And you know what? This food is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Cook and chat on the Reflection Show.
That's it.
You just never know what's going to happen on the Reflection Show. It's unscripted. You know, this is not something I planned. I just say, hey, this is the vision I see.
Yeah.
I believe this is what the people need. Hope, inspiration, conversation, transparency, and amazing food cooked by the one and only Cook and Chat chef with Josh Lumas here. Josh, thank you so much for being on the show. Tastes so good. Listen, guys, we gotta go. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Listen, follow all the Reflection Show page on Instagram and Facebook, The Reflection Show. You can go to thereflectionshow.com. Don't forget to always connect with us.
Yeah.
We have so much happening here at The Reflection Show. And like I always say, remember, your experience matters.
Your experience
Thank you so
matters.
much for watching.
That's it. Have a good night.